All right. I'll call the meeting to order. Here, Dean, if you'll have the staff confirmation of
All
Open
right.
Meeting Act and
We're
roll
going
call.
to ask Vince to let us know whether the packet has been posted and we've had notice of today's meeting. So,
I confirm that the packet was posted and the required notice of the meeting was provided.
so we have met our Kansas Open Meeting Act obligations to advertise today's meeting, and so I'll proceed with roll call. Board Member Kitchen,
Here.
Board Member Noonan,
Here.
Board Member Romy.
Here.
Chair Martins.
Here.
Having met our Open Meetings Act obligations and having a quorum, we can proceed with today's meeting.
All right, then. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the December 23rd regular meeting, December 23rd, 2021 regular meeting. So are there any corrections, changes from anyone, comments? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
I'll second.
and a second, all right. No further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, opposed, same sign. All right. Minutes approved. So next is up to our new business, application CC 21-1.
So our first application for the 2022 year was filed by Mr. Tim Blake, who is the owner-operator of the proposed Prickly Pear Restaurant, and the request is for approval by this board of a certificate of compatibility to allow the installation of a new front facade and a front bracket signage on the exterior of the building. I think you're familiar with the location. It's 123 South Santa Fe, adjacent to the north of Campbell Plaza. And we, for your reading enjoyment, gave you quite a bit of background on all the different cases that you have reviewed and different events relating to this project. You have approved sidewalk cafe license agreement for use of Campbell Plaza. You have approved the exterior modifications for the building and then modified exterior modifications on September 30th of last year, and work is underway on the interior and exterior portions of the Prickly Pear building, as well as on the adjoining plaza to the south. This application was submitted on January 20th, and it's seeking your approval to install new signage to the existing building for the Prickly Pear Grill and Cantina. It includes a new front facade sign and a new bracket sign or projecting sign. Both of these would have reverse channel letters with aluminum backing, and they would be illuminated. The signage would be bolted to the existing brick facade using lag bolts. And so these are the elevations that are included in your packet for your review. The Design Review Board is authorized to grant a certificate of compatibility if upon a majority of the members find that the project complies with the policies and guidelines and the design guidelines for downtown Salina. So we have summarized in the report the various guidelines that apply to signs, and some of those include the fact that projecting signs are encouraged in the downtown area. Use of colors that are compatible with those of the building front are encouraged. The guidelines can encourage sign materials to be compatible with the building facade, and it notes that if you use internal illumination, it should be designed to be subordinate to the overall building composition. So in the case of illuminated signs, the design guidelines express a preference for illuminating the individual letters as opposed to the entire sign panel. So this particular building has 25 feet of frontage on South Santa Fe, and the signage to staff appears to be proportionate. We don't have specific dimensions for the sign with these submittals, but with 75 square feet of sign area allowed, these dimensions would fit within those parameters. The application does not indicate exactly the method of illumination. And as I noted, the guidelines express a preference for backlit signs. So we would request that the applicant clarify the method of illumination. And we would similarly request that the applicant clarify the exact name to appear on the sign. Just the numerous staff reports and agreements and transfer agreements and everything that has come to date describes this as the Prickly Pear Grill and Cantina, and the elevation sign there says Prickly Pear Bar and Cantina. So we would request that the exact name that's going to appear on the sign be clarified. We have indicated on page 8 the ways in which we think this proposed sign design is consistent with the design guidelines for downtown Salina. And so following presentation of this report and any additional information that gets presented, you have the following options. You could approve a certificate of compatibility application if you find that this signage that's being proposed will conform to the design guidelines. You could approve the application subject to any conditions approved by a majority of members. You could postpone consideration this afternoon if you feel like additional information is needed concerning this proposal, and you'd want to schedule a future meeting date for when that would be reconsidered. Or you could deny the application if you don't find these signs to conform with the design guidelines. So our recommendation would be to option 2, to approve the certificate of compatibility subject to the condition that if there's any design or material changes, those would be presented to staff to determine if it needs to come back for your review, and subject to confirmation of the method of illumination to be agreed upon by the board, and confirmation of the actual business name to appear on the signage. So with that, we'd be open to any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions before we ask the applicant to step up? Comments, questions? All right, then. I'll have you step up and identify yourself. And
Zell with Gleason Signs. They're going to be reverse lit. So basically, the letters are going to be painted white, and they're going to have a white light behind that.
okay.
So the whole panel, it'll just be
Each one will be
backlit?
individually lit, backlit. Yeah.
Okay.
The front is not lit at all.
Okay.
Okay.
And they're going to be on like a threaded rivet on each letter,
Okay.
kind of like standoff. So just the letter is going to have a
Will have its own,
right.
each individual letter has its
Right.
own light. Okay.
And that's how the bracket sign is made too.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Okay. What about the name? Do you know? There was whether it's Grill and Cantina or Bar and Grill, or Grill and Bar. I mean.
Bar and Cantina. I don't know if he made changes to that or not.
Yeah, we
I
were
got
just,
a meeting with him tomorrow.
it's all the paperwork that's on file with the city, and all refers to it as Prickly Pear Grill and Cantina, and so that's how we referred to it in the report. So
Right.
it's not going to change the look or the
No.
dimensions or anything in the sign, but we just wanted to clarify how that would be named. The other thing, if you could help us with a little, what, on the projecting sign, what's the rough dimensions on that sign?
About 18 inches wide by 110, 12 inches tall.
Okay.
Not very big. I think it's about 5 inches deep,
Yeah.
4 or 5 inches.
Since all that says is prickly pear, we don't need to worry about that one, but we just wanted to clarify the other one, and that's really not, it doesn't really change the function of what the signs do or any dimension or anything, but we just thought we would try to clarify that for the board.
Okay, and you're saying all the paperwork we have, call it the grill and cantina
Yes.
prior to the, other than the sign, okay?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so, like, we have several license agreements that we've entered into with Mr. Blake that refer to it as the grill and cantina. And so,
Okay. Then, and he doesn't know, so basically if we just approve it as grill and cantina, and then they just let
yeah,
you know if it's
if
otherwise,
if they wish to have the sign say bar and cantina, that's their
then they,
decision. We just wanted that to be brought to Mr. Blake's attention, just in case he wanted to have it say grill instead of bar, so.
okay. Do they need to let you know if they change it, or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. Comments, questions?
Yeah, I mean, the reason for that is that you put a sign up and we have businesses change names all the time. And so if you just change the sign face to have a different business name, that doesn't require a permit or
Okay.
approval. It's only if you're installing or removing a sign. So in this case, if 2 years from now it wasn't the prickly pear, it was something else, and they'd use the same sign face, they wouldn't need any kind of permits or
Okay.
approval, so.
All right. Any further comments?
That's it. No, I'm good.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, then. If there are no further discussion items, questions, comments, then I'll accept a motion.
I would move that we support option 2 with the stipulation that if there are any major changes to the sign, that it will be brought back to staff for their review.
I'll second that.
And, okay, and that to include the other 2 staff recommendations, the confirmation of method illumination.
Well, we've
Well, I don't
confirmed
think
that,
we-
and
Oh,
so I
we got that in
think,
discussion? Never
yeah,
mind.
so I think we can.
I thought, no, if we needed
As
that.
part of that motion, it's assumed that it's agreed to by the board, and then that confirmation of business name was more to bring it to their attention
Okay, I
and the
thought
board's
maybe we needed the
attention, and
motion.
so
Fine.
that was done. Just for the benefit of the board members, we have begun utilizing the outside planning services of a outside firm to help us with some of our caseload, and this was the first staff report that was prepared by our outside consultant. And so
Okay,
they did a good job of identifying things and bringing it to everyone's attention, so.
all right, then, I believe, we did have a second there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion by
All right,
Kitchen,
so-
second by Noonan.
All right, no further discussion then. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, then, motion carried.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Now for application CC 22-2.
Our second application we've received this year was filed by Mr. Hong Kim, owner of a building located at the southwest corner of Iron and South Fifth Street. And it has a number of tenant spaces and addresses, but it has primary entrances that face both Iron and Fifth Street. And so the application in question is for the facade renovations to the existing building. And so this property has 62 feet of frontage on Iron and 80 feet of frontage on Fifth Street. The exterior storefront right now is comprised of a wood-paneled wood exterior with wood frame doors, and it has a wood shake shingled mansard roof. And that roof was put on, according to our records, in 1974 and extends above both storefronts along the frontage of the building on Iron primarily. And so we have in your packet photos of the existing building. This is the Fifth Street view, and then we have the Iron Avenue view. So Troy Reinert of Reinert Construction has filed this application on behalf of the building owner. And the proposal is to renovate the exterior by replacing the plywood siding with cement stucco board siding, replacing existing windows and doors with an aluminum storefront system, and replacing the wood shake shingle mansard roof with an awning with a new standing seam metal roof. Mr. Warren Ediger is the architect working with the owner and the contractor. And so we have put in your packet both photos of the existing and elevations of the proposed new look. Because this is within the Business Improvement District, it was referred to this board for review and approval prior to any of the exterior work beginning. So we have summarized for you in the middle of a report various design guidelines within that apply to exterior facades, windows and doors, roofs, and colors. And one I would call the board's attention to on page 5 of the report, which staff has bolded, is do not use mansard roof with wood shingles. So the existing look that's there is something that the design guidelines specifically discourage. The design guidelines don't have any specific commentary on standing seam metal roofs. But I think we'd probably agree that the wood shake shingle mansard roof is somewhat dated and it's out of place with the predominant architectural character of the downtown. Staff thinks the plan presented by the building owner's architect would make the building more compatible with nearby buildings and create a more visually appealing entryway into downtown. If we look at the aluminum and glass storefront, that's very consistent with recent downtown storefront installations that this board has reviewed in the past year. The stucco pattern cement board would be more compatible with surrounding buildings than the existing wood siding. And as we noted, the standing seam metal roof, while not necessarily specifically encouraged, would represent an improvement over the existing mansard roof. And we did not get a chance to get it photographed, but the Hayes School of Beauty that's on the opposite side of 5th Street, they have a similar standing seam metal awning out on the front of the building. So from that standpoint, this would be consistent with what's across the street at the Hayes School of Beauty. We have suggested on page 6 findings that could be made in support of this application. There's really no intact architectural features worthy of preservation on this building. There's not any significant character-defining features on the existing building. Moving to the glass storefront would be more compatible with surrounding buildings than what's there today. And it's a judgment call for the board, but it appeared to staff that the colors are compatible with the color scheme of other buildings on this block of iron. So your options would be to approve the application for the exterior facade changes. If you find that the modifications will conform with the design guidelines for downtown Salina, you could approve this application subject to any conditions. You could postpone consideration to a future meeting, or you could deny the application as presented. Our recommendation was option 2, with the condition that if any significant changes are made to the storefront or the roof design and materials that you approve, that those would be referred to staff and we would determine whether it needs to come back to you for any additional review. So with that, I'd be open to any questions from the board.
Yes, okay, they have the design. The color I'm not real clear on, though. I mean, is it a charcoal black, the metal roofing, and then what the sides are, is that?
We're interpreting that to be a gray with the charcoal gray or black
Okay,
above, and that can be clarified by the architect, because
Okay.
depending on the lighting, it looks a little different from the 5th Street view than the iron view, but I do believe they're intended to be consistent. So that's something that the
Check with them.
designer can clarify for us.
Okay, I didn't know if they said that somewhere. Okay. Anybody else have any questions before we ask the applicants to step forward? No? All right, then, if there's a representative here that could speak for us, please. If you'd give your name and identify, in other words, identify yourself.
My name is Warren Ediger. I'm a Saline architect, and I'm representing the project. The only thing that I have to add to what Dean described on it is there's some existing brick that will remain, and the stucco will be a warm gray to integrate with the brick. The views change color from one side to the other because of the little perspective program that I use shades it, and so it puts the north side in shade and the other side in full sun, and so then they appear different, but it would be the same on all sides.
So but it's kind of a gray,
A gray, warm gray, yes.
and the metal is a
A charcoal.
charcoal?
Yeah.
Okay, I assume so, but just wanted to clarify because I wasn't sure. Does anybody else have any comments, questions for him? Would you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I guess, again, if there are no questions, comments, well, I'll accept a motion.
I would motion to go to option 2.
I'll make a motion that we go with option 2.
Action.
There's any changes that they come back to the board.
If you don't mind, would you mind seconding it? Because Kevin had just made the motion here.
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay, so Kevin motioned and seconded. All right, thank you. Is there any other comments or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. All right, then, motion carried. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll get you a written summary of today's action, so you have that to move forward.
And I believe our next item then is the presentation of the 2021 Design Review Board Annual Report.
Yes, usually we try to get this to all the boards and commissions in January, but each year, the start of the year, the city commission requests that the advisory boards and commissions that they appoint provide them with a report of their previous year's activities, and they're mostly interested that the board's actively meeting, that the appointed members are in attendance, and it's conducting its business as it's intended to do. So what we have provided for you is to just show that this board was very active in 2021, probably the most active the board has ever been, and there were a total of 17 meetings held. We referred to 10 of them as regular and 7 special, with the 10 regular occurring the first Thursdays of the month. And as the year went along, we started meeting on the second Thursday more frequently, and we'll move back to that this year. But if we just compare the 2 years, in 2021, you had 17 meetings and looked at 28 applications, and in the year before, you had 11 meetings and looked at 17 applications. 25 of those were certificates of compatibility cases, 3 of them related to sidewalk dining, including a renewal for Blue Sky Brewery and approvals for Paramount Bar for a sidewalk dining and Prickly Pear for a plaza dining area. And so our job is to receive the applications, provide the proper legal notices, prepare the staff reports, and actually issue the certificates of compatibility. We also do follow-up inspections on projects. And so you are intended to be a 7-member board. In the end of August, the terms of Caden Butler and Haiti Helzer expired. Mr. Romey was appointed to fill one of those spots, and so the membership is currently 4 with 3 openings. And so the Design Review Board has a few designated openings, one of which is for a design professional, and then 2 citizens at large would also be eligible to serve. And so what we'd primarily like the board to do is to review the attendance information, see if that squares with your recollection of your attendance, and review the contact information that we have for you to make sure that it's current and does not need to be updated. And then just to kind of refresh your memories of the past year, there's a listing of all the cases that you reviewed and acted on. So there's 25 there, actually 28 when you include the sidewalk cafe items. So you can see that there were quite a few items that resulted in action by the board.
On my contact information, I have been at Bank 6, not First Bank Kansas, for about the last year.
Okay. So the home address is still good and the email is good, but we should list Bank 6?
Correct.
Okay. Make note of that. Okay. So I guess at that point, I'd be open to any questions that board members might have about the report. And then if we seem to have captured everything for the board, we would just request that there be a motion to forward this report on to the City Commission on behalf of the board.
Okay.
You want us to make a motion? Sorry.
Yeah,
Alright.
if you
I'll make-
are, if you're comfortable with the report we put together, then if you would make a motion to forward this on to the City Commission on your behalf, then this is what we'll provide to the commission with your contact information updated.
I will make the motion.
Okay. Have a second?
I second it.
Second.
Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded. If there's any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you.
And I did kind of skip over that in our report to you, just for your benefit. With Margie over here is Vince Howard, who is a permit tech with the city, and he'll be assisting with the Design Review Board. And then we wanted to note that we have retained the services of Shockey Consulting out of Kansas City to provide on-call planning services. And so they have an individual named Tyler Waldorf who will be assisting staff and assisting the DRB. So there may be some future cases where Mr. Waldorf joins the meeting by Zoom, and he might be presenting information to the board in addition to staff. So we wanted to make you aware that we're doing that. And primarily, Mr. Hers and I have been managing all the boards and commissions since the retirement of Mr. Berger, and we've not filled Mr. Berger's position. So just getting the assistance of the on-call consultant can help us when we've got lots of cases. So we just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay, thank you. Then, I think there does not appear to be anyone present. Is anyone online for the public forum?
I would confirm that we didn't have anyone from the public online or in the room during the course of the meeting today.
And I didn't ask, I kind of went out of order, but unfinished or other business?
The only other business we have is it looks at this point that we will not have a meeting on the 24th of February. At this point, we haven't received any applications, and we will, I think, as spring comes, and we noted in our annual report, we're going to pick up back some of the activity with our downtown arts and entertainment ordinance, and that might involve the design review board in getting some feedback and guidance on things related to that. So it might not be a application or case, but we might bring a question or issue related to downtown just to get your feedback on. So
Okay.
as it stands, we're going to say we don't think we'll have a meeting on the 24th, but we will give you notice of the cancellation or that we are going to have it. But I think that's all the business we have for you this evening, other than we haven't quite finished the new carpet in the room, so we continue to temporarily use the west exit.
All right. Thank you. In that case, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Okay. Katie moved
Second?
and Jennifer second. All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
I was just going to walk out. I didn't. All right. Thank you. Motion carried.
Thanks for joining us.